Hello everybody, I'm Krasi Attasio, I'm sidereal astrologer, and today I will talk about Saturn, the difficult karmic lessons of Saturn, how to make them easier to live with, and how to make the Saturnine returns and the lessons of Saturn easier. This we can do by understanding the nature of the planet and by searching for the lessons in the mythology, in the most ancient mythology, the one of ancient Babylon and Sumer. So, who is Saturn? In the previous video that I spoke about the free will and the lessons, whether we can change our destiny, how far we can go with our free will, I made a brief description about the planetary spheres, and this is a notion of Hermes. So we have the planetary spheres. Just very briefly will remind you about this notion in order to show you where the place of Saturn is. So we have the planetary spheres, we have the moon, we have then Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and then finally we have Saturn, and then we have the belt of the zodiac, and then we have the decanates, the ruler, the overseers, the ruler of the time, and finally above the decanates we have everything. We have God, and this is what we are searching for in every incarnation, to reach God, to reach our higher consciousness. So see how high in the hierarchy and also physically how high Saturn is. And you have Saturn with his rings around him, and they do serve the role of boundaries. So imagine that we are ascending and we pass through the planetary spheres. When we reach the boundaries of Saturn, depending on how far in our the level of consciousness and vibrational level we are, how much we learned in our lifetime, how well we dealt with our karma, then we will be able maybe to pass through his boundaries or not. The same will be valid when we are descending to Earth or to our next incarnation on other planet of this system, probably. So you see that his role is he's like a watcher. He is the one who watches that we fulfill our karma. He needs to be sure that we live our life in the way it is encoded in this incarnation, so that we learn the most, so that we benefit in the best way of this incarnation according to the possibilities and the opportunities given in the horoscope. So who was Saturn? Who is ruling Saturn in the most ancient mythology, the one of Babylon? And this is god Ninurta. Who is Ninurta? Ninurta is the son of Enlil. Enlil is supreme divinity, the one of the three divinities which created the world, which created humanity. He is also the right hand of Enlil. And Saturn is the one who rules the agriculture. He's the main agricultural of Enlil. He is the one who is ruling the dikes, the channels, who is ruling the stones, who is ruling the mountains. He is the hero. He is the eternal warrior. Saturn is also the planet which was mostly respected in ancient Babylon because of its wisdom. Mars was feared the most and Saturn was respected the most because there is no other planet that would teach us wisdom as much as Saturn can do. So Saturn was god Ninurta. 1 year he is visible in the sky, 20 days he's invisible in the sky. When he is a hero, the eternal warrior, when he is a hero, he is also ruling partially Mercury, because Mercury is having three heliacal phases. When he is rising on the eastern horizon as a morning star and is visible, and when he is rising on the western horizon as an evening star. Actually, god Ninurta is ruling the heliacal phase of Mercury when morning star, when a warrior. wisdom, wise warrior of knowledge. So, Saturn is this. Saturn was respected not only for his wisdom, God Ninurta was respected not only for his wisdom, but was respected for his truthfulness. And his wife was Gula. Gula, the healer, the healing goddess. In the sky, Gula is the constellation Lyra. Lyra is quite visible, very high, near the Polaris and quite visible. It can be easily seen. So, Gula is often depicted in the ancient mythological cuneiforms with a dog. So, her significance was such that in antiquity, when I practice astromagic, I do it as well. In antiquity, uh, when you need to charge a herb with the divine healing properties of Gula, you should place the herb under the star for the night so that it gets really charged with the healing powers. And then in order to heal somebody, you also may like to connect with Gula. So she was the wife of Ninurta. Also, Ninurta was so significant that he was the divinity who opened the door for the flood so that the humanity was completely underwater. So imagine in what way that he works to fulfill the destiny, in this case of the humanity, because the humanity did some mistakes according to the mythology. But this you can follow up in the creation myth called Enuma Elish and other mythological stories, also in the Bible, but I'm talking about the most ancient sources. So, Ninurta was the agriculturer. He was the one who worked a lot. He was the one who respected truthfulness, high moral values, and the one who is bringing grief, anxiety, depression, sorrow, fears. The one who is reason behind loneliness, death, loss of husband or wife, the one who is reason for one not to have partners and love in his or her life. He is the reason for bad financial troubles in business. He is the reason for diseases. He can create floods, earthquake, all kinds of diseases and accidents. So he can really be a weapon for our karma coming into action. So how to look at what he can cause us in the horoscope? If, for example, Saturn is afflicting Venus, oftentimes people will have problems with having partners, with their personal lives. If Saturn is afflicting Jupiter, this can be a reason for no children or problems with the relationships of children, can be reason for losing property or lack of money. If Saturn is afflicting the moon by opposition, square, or conjunction, this can create anxiety, this can create issues of depression, sorrow. This can be reason for bad relationship with the mother or problematic mother in the horoscope. Say if Saturn is afflicting Mercury, also we can have problems with deviation from the truth, like saying lies easily, lying, or mental issues. So there are many ways that Saturn can be afflicting in our lives in any area of life. So when we know his nature, when we know how he's watching for our thoughts, attitudes, emotional responses, actions, then we know how to make his influences to soften his reactions towards us, because we're really being watched by the planetary rulers. Why otherwise we would have the horoscopes? Why are we otherwise descending in this particular very exact second and moment of time? So Saturn is the one who likes the black color. And the dark blue, Saturn from the stones, Saturn is ruling the diamond. Often by many ancient authors, the diamond is attributed to Venus, but I don't agree with this because the diamond can become as hard and pure as it is only when you go through the lessons of Saturn, because the diamond is a result. Initially, the diamond was carbon, and it became through the centuries and the lessons and the reactions of time. Finally, you got a diamond. So this is also how Saturn will make one day of diamonds from us when we learn all his lessons. So diamond is under Saturn. The blue, unheated, untreated sapphire is under Saturn. Black onyx, all black gemstones, lead, gold, silver can also be ruled by Saturn. The bad smells, asafoetida is given as example. Also, from the herbs which don't give fruit, the herbs with black small fruits can be ruled by Saturn. Also, the mandragora is the fruit, the herb of Saturn. Why am I saying this? Because there is a way that we can help ourselves. Saturday is ruled by Saturn. If on Saturday we wear black or dark blue, we work a lot because Saturn is the agriculture, is the one who works a lot. He would not tolerate lack of discipline and lack of time orientation, time respect. He's the one who watches the time. He's the one who watches whether we respect, whether we are disciplined enough. So if we would work on Saturday, if we would wear the colors of Saturn, if we would wear the stone or the metal of Saturn, if we would burn the right herbs, if we would take black seed oil to improve our health, because Saturn can seriously be harmful for the health as he is ruling the bones, the phlegm, he's ruling the skin, the teeth, the all hidden diseases and organs which are not exposed. So Saturn can be reason for severe health diseases. So if we take as precaution black seed oil, for example, there are many ways, of course, just one example. And if we are very truthful, we never deviate from the truth. When I say never, this is what Saturn really expects from us in order to make sure that we're learning the lessons well, that we're good students. So be having high moral values towards ourselves and the others, having high moral values in terms of what we think, not only what we do and say. Also, self-restrictions. He's coming to restrict. He's coming to create limits. If we do this before him, we may help ourselves a lot. Like, for example, somebody is a smoker or a drinker, and he will be running difficult Saturn return because his Saturn would be afflicting his ascendant, for example. I would say, try to quit smoking or try to limit your drinking, because otherwise Saturn would do it in the difficult way, the way he's doing. Because remember, he was the one who opened the doors so that the humanity went underwater for when this was about 5500 BC, when the flood was coming. So he was the one who then made sure that the karma is coming into place. So we can do this before him. Other very powerful way is when a planet is afflicted by Saturn, to increase the power of this particular planet with a planetary talisman. And this is what I particularly do when I'm doing astrological magic, like it was practiced in ancient Babylon. So like, for example, one would have afflicted Venus and would be experiencing difficulty in the private relationships. I would say Venus to be given additional powers. So these are only some tips, advices on how to deal with difficult Saturn returns and effects in the horoscope. Truthfulness. respecting elderly people, because when Saturn is this in the oftentimes, especially in nocturnal night horoscope, Saturn is directly representing the father figure. So respecting the father and the elderly people is also very important. The Vedic astrologers said somewhere, I read somewhere, take a black dog, for example. Well, I don't know whether this will work, but just an idea. So black is the color of Saturn. There was, yes, so mainly these are the most important approaches towards softening the impact of the difficult Saturn. Often Saturn, often there are also other ways of when Saturn is on a very powerful position, on a throne or exalted. There is a way practiced in the ancient Babylon was to do petition. Also the medieval Arabs did. A petition is a way that you would dress like him, would imitate practically Saturn, and then you can contact with the planet. And then you do your requests, but such dates are not many in the year, and though they're very, very helpful also to improve your relationship with the Saturn, the eternal warrior. Don't forget, he never gives up, and he's always watching us on how we think, how we do our with our emotional reactions, what we do with our moral values, how we respect truth, and how disciplined we are. So basically with this I will conclude this short video. The next one I will make probably will be about Mars. I hope you find this interesting. Thank you.